to the Dice Odyssey. Today we're going to talk about Tiny Epic Quest. Can you see it?
You're going to cover the camera up. You keep going any further than that.
Kind of small. It's by
really
Scott
is.
Holmes, by Gamelyn Games. As you can see, it's quite small.
Yeah. This game right here is based off of, pretty much inspired by the Legend of Zelda, or any of those old 8-bit games, like I think Dragon Warrior, a little bit of Mario
in there too.
Yeah, I was getting that vibe heavily.
Yeah.
The one thing that you're going to notice right off the bat are these little bitty item meeples with their little bitty pieces, you know, like these swords and shields. And I'll tell you, just from the outset, I was concerned. I think you were saying this the other day. I was concerned with how small and itty bitty these pieces were.
Mm-hmm. Well, first off on these is that when you first got it, it was a little difficult to get the pieces into the plastic meeples hands, or little holes on there, and then to pull them back out, I felt like I was going to break them in two.
Princess.
Wait, did you hear that?
That's right, big boy. You heard me right.
Somebody
What did you just say?
Not my fault you got sausage fingers.
They talking smack to you?
Oh my gosh, dude. They're talking to me.
I can't help it that I'm that small. You should have known better before you got this game.
Well, I can't help it if you're small, okay? I got big meat hooks, all
Just because
right?
we're small doesn't mean we're not important.
Well, I'm sorry. That's just the way it is, and I'm going to say that in this
I
review.
can't help you have no
Let them
coordination.
talk smack.
I can't help it you're stupid and you don't know anything. I'm gonna take this sword and I'm gonna shoot.
No one talks to my friend like that.
All right, now that we've handled that issue, my gosh, it's crazy when your game pieces start rebelling against you. But anyway, this game is for 1 to 4 players. It's roughly about an hour long, depending on player count. And we want to get it over the table, show you how to play it, and then we'll give you our final thoughts. I'm going to get you kind of started so you get the idea of what the game's like. First thing is you're going to get 3 meeples to start, item meeples. I got to keep remembering to say that. And you're going to get a player board, okay? First thing, you're going to put you're going to have a max power of 3 and a max health of 6. And on top of that, you're going to have a sword, shield, and a staff put on the player board on the first slot here. And one other thing you're also going to receive, and this is strictly for the night phase, is an adventure card, okay? And this adventure card has one side with a dice, tell you what to do, and also the rest side. Now, as you go through and you're completing temples, one thing in particular is you're going to be upgrading these legendary items, okay? And so, for example, if you wanted to upgrade, just to give you one example, if you want to upgrade the sword, you're going to want to complete the forest temple first. I mean, every player card's different. And then you're also going to want to complete the water temple. You have to complete these in an order. You can't do one and then the other in any order you want. You have to do them in the order they show. And once you completed the forest temple, you go to that. And then once you complete the water temple, you get the sword. Every time you kill a goblin, or you actually increase your magic standing in the spell library, for the spells, you actually increase the max amount of power you can have by 1. For the goblins, you actually increase the max amount of health you get by 1 as well. It's kind of like Zelda. The game's going to take place over 5 rounds, and you're also going to be scoring. It's basically how you win. You're going to be scoring by getting spells, quests, and how many goblins you kill. Now, the game is divided up into a day and a night phase, okay? During the day, you're basically going to be adventuring, you're going to be moving around, you're going to be doing a lot of movements, okay? And getting yourself situated for the night phase. The way it works is the player with the first player token is going to actually choose the first movement for everyone else, okay? So, for example, you want to go and move by foot, all right? That person chooses by foot. That's 1 map card any direction. That's really cool. But see, now everybody at the table going in clockwise order now has an opportunity to decide whether or not they want to go along with that map card, okay? So they can either choose to go along with what that person's chosen for everyone else, or they can go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to idle, and they have an opportunity to fill up their health or power and things like that, okay? Now, once everybody at the table has an opportunity to choose whether or not they want to do this, they can either move or idle, then this one is now finished, and the person clockwise gets to choose the next one, okay? So the next person gets to choose for everyone else until everybody has taken that turn at the table, or at least 4 of these have been done and flipped over. If you take a look, you got 4 different spots on the location board there, but really they're connected ultimately. So for example, this is a spell spot. It tells you right here what spell you're going to be learning. Like you look on that spell book track and it shows you what spell you might want to learn. And then this is, you just situate your person for the night phase. This is a temple. And basically what you're trying to do here is you start here, but you have to get these scrolls on the dice to be able to move forward. Once you get to the bottom here and you rest, you'd be able to complete that fire temple. Now, here's one with a goblin on it that you get to fight at any point in time. And here's also a mushroom grotto. Now these are typically what I would call the teamwork option. You might have one person come here and you immediately take whatever action it says on here. And now when you actually come here to attack a goblin, what you're going to be doing is you're going to set your person there, and in the night phase you're going to be delivering punches to this goblin until it spins all the way around. You see that diamond there? This is showing the little punch symbols. It's basically its life points until you get to that red skull. I know, Captain America, right? And so once that happens, you take that and that becomes points for you by the end of the game. If you look, you have different kinds of quest cards where you're able to locate items that you need, a la Zelda. I'm going to keep saying that. For example, a bomb, a key, or movement style of quests where you're able to gain instant things like 3 hearts or 3 power. You just have to move your characters in different kinds of ways. For example, this one says join the Bard's Guild. Okay, so you wanted to complete this quest here, okay, trying to get this bomb. Well, it says you must complete the fire temple, okay? Now, you may have to complete the fire temple or any other temple multiple times to get certain kinds of quests because those items might be in there at given times. But the minute you complete this quest, let me show you how that works too. Let's pretend that this is during the night phase and your little guy's on the temple and you're able to complete it all the way to completion. The minute you rest there during the night phase, you immediately get this quest and you also get to take the item off the item rack, okay? Okay. This is basically where you're going to see if you actually learn your spells, kill your goblins, or actually complete your temples, most of the time anyway. Now, if you take a look, you're going to be rolling the dice, and it tells you very clearly, it says, hey, if you roll the demon head or the goblin head, you're going to take damage. If you roll power, you're going to gain power. Basically, if you were down on power, you're going to gain it back on your player board up to your max, possibly. And then also, the magic mushroom. Remember, if you do the mushrooms, however many of them you roll, that's how many you move up on the magic track. And then the cool thing is, if you roll torches, scrolls, or punches, everybody may take this simultaneously, right? So it's for everyone. It doesn't, 1 means 1 for everyone. 2 means 2 for everyone. It's really cool that way. So let's go ahead and roll, for example. Now right here, if you see, I rolled a ton of power. I don't really need it right now, but hey, I also delivered a punch to a goblin, and then I also had a magic mushroom. That's not a bad roll. Now, had I rolled a demon head or whatever you want to call it, I will take that hit, okay? So that's going to go down on my life meter. But had I rolled 2 of them, I would not have taken that second roll. If anybody else hasn't rested, the next person clockwise to me is going to take the next hit, right? Which is nice. So it's not meaning there's a good chance you're not going to take them all anyway. And basically, that's how it's going to work with the night phase. Play is going to go around and around and around. You're only going to get 1 roll, then the next person's going to get a roll, next person, until it comes back around to you. And you can keep going until you decide to rest. See, if you've reached whatever you wanted to do, or you're really concerned that you're about to be exhausted during the night phase, meaning you'll lose pretty much a lot of your progress that you're doing, or even power or anything like that, then you better go ahead and rest before that happens. And when that happens, you return everybody to the castle that's in the middle of adventuring, okay? Except for mushroom grottos. So let's say you needed to roll 2 torches to move up on a temple mount, okay? Well, you only rolled 1, and so what you can do now is do what we call forging ahead. You can actually use 2 power to go ahead and forge ahead to be able to get past that 1 extra step on that temple face. It basically creates a torch or a scroll here on your player board. Now, another thing is if you roll one of these demon heads, you're able to also use, if you have it, at least 2 power to go ahead and defend against that demon head. You're going to basically have the opportunity to do your spell tracker, okay? You have to be on the correct obelisk that corresponds with the actual symbol on the board, okay? Because remember, every time you get a new spell book, you actually increase your maximum power. This, for example, let's say I started off here and I was trying to go to here, okay, to this particular one, number 4. Well, I have to keep on rolling the dice until I get all the mushrooms up. Now, once I get into this quadrant, I would have been able to learn the scorpion spell, but since I'm not standing on that obelisk, I'm on this obelisk, I have to keep going and going and going. And now, see, once I get into number 2, this 2 area, that means I could have learned 2 books, meaning I could have jumped over to 2 more books. And if I had been on this, I guess that's a spider or a crab obelisk, that spell obelisk, I would have been able to learn that one, okay? But as it is, I'm still trying to get this one, so I have to get up into level 3. Now, here's the issue with level 2 and 3. Once you get up there, you start getting adverse effects added to your, against your health. So just to make sure you also see the castle map tile, that's what it looked like. And the cool thing is that's where you're going to basically be starting out from. Then you can take one of your meeples and you can say, okay, I kind of want to go over here, right? Let's say I want to go to this mushroom grotto. Well, if I move from here to this mushroom grotto, I can do the action. But one key thing you also have to remember, if you see a goblin like this that's on the red side, you have to decrease your power by 1. It's like you almost had to fight through them to get through them. So anytime you pass through a map card that has a goblin on it, has a red goblin, I'm sorry, you have to actually decrease your power. That's one thing in particular you need to remember, okay? Now, once you've gotten to round 5, you have your final round, you end that round, and you total up all your points. Person with the most points at the end wins. I don't know, man. I think we should start with the production value, honestly.
I like it. I mean, it's great. I really like the artwork as far as production goes. It really conveys a lot to you. It really conveys the theme of the game. I mean, you got everything. I mean, it really does convey the whole Legend of Zelda series to you.
Oh, man. I couldn't agree more.
I mean, you got rafts that you can travel by, boats, horseback, griffin, foot.
Man, everything you can think of, really.
It's got everything.
Yeah. What did you think of the dice?
Oh, man. A little pearl look to him.
He was loving these dice the entire time we were playing.
I don't know what it is about it. It's just it's unique. It's a little different.
That marble feel and look
to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a very deluxe quality feel to it. As a matter of fact. Now, one thing I can say, and personally on the production value, I agree with everything he said. When it comes to these trademarked item meeples, yeah, you saw the intro. We were having a little fun with it, but really, these things are awesome. They really are. They really bring you even deeper into the game because now it's almost like they're telling kind of a story,
this one's going to have its own little thing to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this guy might have a sword and shield. This person might have a lantern and a magic key,
Boomerang or something.
Yeah, bow and arrows. I mean, this item rack, I think this is one of the coolest parts of the entire game.
Nice little prop.
Yes, it really is. Like, they could have easily laid these things out on the table.
Put them in a tray or something like that.
But now it feels like you're a warrior, and now you've found something, and you're pulling it off the wall and equipping yourself like you're going out into an adventure. That brings the theme, heavy into it for me. The other aspect I liked, and I think you could probably comment on this as well, I really, really like the quality of the tiles and the cards.
Cards, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's got that...
don't feel cheap.
Yeah, it doesn't feel cheap at all. It really doesn't.
Not like the best of the quality, but they're not like the worst.
No, but actually, I think they're higher quality than some other things we've played.
Yeah, they are.
Like Terraforming Mars. Just saying, the player board could have been a lot better in terms of quality. Now, I know that's your favorite game. Get off of it.
No. As far as the production,
that's a different story altogether. This is high quality. Yeah. Love this. Let me mention something else too. On these player boards, I really like the fact that you have to upgrade your sword, your shield, and your staff to be able to get them. You have to complete temples to get those. I love that idea because it feels like you're actually out going on a quest and you're trying to upgrade yourself, kind of like Legend of Zelda, where you're going into temples and getting things that you need to complete the next temple, or so on and so forth. The one thing, the one con that I think, and I think you might agree with this, specifically about these player boards, would be that there was no magic meter on it.
Yeah.
Okay? Tell them about the spell tracker.
The spell tracker right here, and when you roll the little magic mushrooms, you advance along this little trail right here. Okay? But if that's on the other side of the board and you're playing a 4-player game,
which we did tonight,
can't see it on the other side, get binoculars or something.
You really do. So, you have to get over the table.
It would really kind of be great if everybody had one of these to kind of keep track of their own, or it would be on here somewhere. I mean, it would probably increase the size of it, which kind of goes against what they're going for.
Right, I get that.
Everything fits in this small box, easy to carry. But if they at least could include this...
The spellbook spot.
Yeah.
The one where you see how many spellbooks you've completed.
Yeah.
That, again, I'm loving the game, loving the production, but there's just a couple little issues with it that we see.
My other thing is, like, at the top here, I kind of wish they would have, these
right
little max things that would kind of slide over.
For your health and your power.
Yeah, maybe like a little piece of plastic that would slide over and let you know where your max is, and you could slide it up and down.
Kind of like Forbidden Desert, actually, when they put the little tracker on there to watch your water.
But
maybe something like that. I don't know.
It's a tiny little thing. No pun intended.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
That's funny.
That's my biggest beef. Those two things right there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I get what they were trying to do with the production quality. They're trying to keep everything small. But, like, I agree with him about the spellbook tracker. That would have been nice. When it comes to the map tiles, I absolutely loved them. I think they were awesome. I just felt little Easter eggs in there. I mean, if you have to go, for example, to this fire dungeon.
Yeah.
You know, you complete it, and it makes sense how you complete it, actually.
Well, the other part of it, having these little tiles on here, every game's going to be a little different.
Because they're randomized.
They're randomized. They're put out there so randomly, you're not going to have the same play every time.
But anyway, another thing that I really liked was the fact that for us Zelda fans, if you look, there's also the Dark World on here, and it's a different variant in the game that you can play. It actually increases the difficulty. But I do like the fact that they included that because, again, I feel like I'm playing A Link to the Past at that point. I can do the Light World in one game, then, hey, we can go into the Dark World. It's going to be a little more edgy.
Playability, more random. Yeah, it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Love that. Now, the other thing that I liked, I did like the idea of somebody picking one of the movements.
And everybody has to move the same way.
Yeah.
Or they can choose not to, but...
Yeah, they can choose not to, but I'm going to say this. When it comes to these movement cards and somebody choosing...
people over.
Oh, bad, man. This is one of the most strategic part of the games for me. I found myself getting stuck at times because other people were seeing me going, okay, I see Kas is maybe going for this spell obelisk at some point.
I'm going to move 5 foot.
Yeah, and Kas really needs to move by Griffin. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. And so there were a couple of times in the game and over several plays that I found myself getting stuck trying to reorganize my play because other people were strategically edging me out by the movement tracker or by the way you moved. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was actually, it was frustrating, but it was a good frustrating in the sense that, oh man, I just got played. I just got outwitted. Yeah. And so now I have to restructure how I'm going to do things. Brian just tore us apart with however many quests he had in the end game just recently. And he was just, but he was outplaying us. And we got into a temple at one point, and he got ahead of me. Anyway, he tore me up last game.
You gotta pay attention.
You really do. You have to pay attention to your opponents. See, that's another thing about this game, though, is that if you first look at it, it's like a big puzzle that you're trying to puzzle out. You're sending all these 3 little adventurers out, and they're helping you. So it's like a little team. But the thing about it is that you have to watch what other people are doing, not just because they can take your spot or muscle in on you, like on the temple, for example.
They may be advancing faster than you are, and you don't realize.
And they take the quest card from you like he did in this last game. We were in the same temple, and the next thing you know, he jumps ahead. I think you forged ahead on that last run.
Yeah.
Rested real fast on the nighttime phase, and went ahead and took it.
Had that special card that allowed me to do that.
Oh, and I wanted to throw one of these little miniature swords at his face. I tell you what, if we're playing without expansions, the interactivity between the players, for example, like some games you're trading with each other, some games you're doing deals with each other, so you're doing a lot of more interactivity. In this game, you really are trying to do your own thing. It almost plays like a solo game. It almost does, like you're doing your own solo game over there.
You're doing your own thing, but you still have to worry about what everybody else is doing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I mean,
the interactivity is kind of limited in that way.
You're not trading with anybody or not, but you got to watch during the night phase. You got to watch what the other person's doing because you can play off their dice.
Right, and that was another cool thing, and that actually sped the game up.
That part I did enjoy about the game, that
push your luck.
Yeah. Well, not only that is that you roll something and hey, I can use those dice too, especially like the scrolls, the fire, the mushroom. You know, I did also like how when you accumulate damage, if you roll 3 of the trolls or goblins, whatever you want to call them, I get 1 damage and he gets the other damage.
Yeah, it passes along around the table.
I really thought that was cool. So you don't sit there and roll all of the goblins and then you take all that damage and you're dead.
Yeah, so, absolutely, because that could really end it quickly.
That was a great mechanic on that part.
Yeah. One thing I will say is we played with pretty much every player count. Okay, we play 1 to 4 all the way through. I played with him 2-player. I liked the game quite a bit. I will have to say that I really love the game at 4.
4 player is great.
It's probably the best for me.
You get that good competition, and people don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing.
That's true. We were not catching him getting all these quests. Like, he'd pull them, but we weren't really paying that much attention because we were so busy over here.
And I'm reaching across the table to see what they are.
Right in
his face. And
oh, man, I can't believe you slipped that one past me that last time. But the fact is that at 4 players, I feel like the game, it's balanced at every level, don't get me wrong. I just felt like I had more fun with it at that point. Because there's so much
going on.
Yeah.
Everybody is doing their own little thing. I really think, 2 players, it's okay.
It's good.
The camaraderie that you get with the 4-player and seeing what everybody else is doing, and, they can mess you over at any turn. You just got to keep evolving and building your strategy every turn.
Yeah.
Because you're going around the table and somebody can mess you up. One other thing, like on the scorecard here, you actually can get negative points and you can lose points.
Yeah.
By not doing certain tasks on here. So it does kind of push you a little bit. Because if you don't do anything, you
get negative points on it. But there is one thing that I do want to bring up before go, and I do kind of, it feels kind of like a con, but I maybe the game would go too long. I don't know. It just depends on what you're in the mood for. When you think Tiny Epic Quest, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going on a huge... Yeah, you think that, but no, it's not even that. It's, for me, I think that at 2-player and maybe 3-player, and again, everybody's going to have a different experience, I'm sure, but 2 or 3-player, I feel like the game ends a little too quickly. I feel like that 5 rounds sometimes isn't quite enough. I don't know how to explain it. Like 4-player, it seemed a little bit better for me, and it actually helped me balance the game out better. But with 2 and 3, I was itching for one more round because I felt like I'd just gotten my engine going. I'd just gotten these things, my ducks in a row, basically, and I was able to do more with it. So, yeah, I think at the lower player counts also, I kind of wish there had been a 6th round. But in general, the game did feel like an adventure. I felt like I was leading a team adventurers out, and by the time I got my little warriors with all their pieces on there, it looked like we had a serious quest. Like we'd gone and gotten items. We had gone and fought goblins. We had really gone and done some cool stuff. And I'm excited to see what they do with like more expansions. For example, for the spell books, I think it'd be cool if they put actual spells you can learn, and maybe they'd have to increase the amount of time in the game because that way you can do a little bit more in-depth stuff.
That'd be interesting.
But that's where I'm at right now. So I feel like the game is a very good and complete game, and I really love it a lot. I'm giving this at least. Currently, I'm giving it about a medium beard and about an 8.5 for me. It's sitting at. I would go higher except for a couple of little cons that I've got with it.
I've enjoyed this game quite a bit. I mean, this was fun, great, between everybody playing off each other and not paying attention. So, I mean...
You're going to keep doing that.
Yes, I am. I'm going to
I'll give you a fist to the face for the end of this video.
But, I mean, 8.5, getting close up there to 9.
Wow.
I would love to give this, longer than the ZZ Top Beard. But, yeah, I mean, it is around 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So, I mean...
Is that where you're sitting, though? About 8.5 to a 9?
Well, say
land on a number, man.
8.75.
Oh my gosh,
okay,
really? I don't have anything for that. But anyway, have y'all played it yet? Have you had a chance to go out on this quest? Have you played any other Tiny Epic games? How do they stack up compared to this one? If you've had a chance to play it, what's your favorite out of the bunch? Anyway, please like and subscribe. I mean, we release videos pretty regularly, about several times a month, and we want to give you more of this content. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel, and we'd appreciate it very greatly because it continues to encourage us to produce more. And we want to help you find great games. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the Dice Odyssey videos. I'm Kas.
I'm Bryan.
And you have a blessed day.
Game away.
Game away.